They took her away. Are you recording?
I am.
Oh, boy. Hello, Dickinson County. So I've got all sorts of, not really a lot, but just a few handouts. So is the best way to get that to Leanne?
I told you to email it today.
Oh, yeah, perfect, perfect.
And Tasha, the other two speakers took their masks off so that Dickinson County can hear better and you're right up there.
Oh, do I love you? That's hot business. I'm sitting up here talking the whole time. Okay, so I've been telling everybody this is going to be a lot better than the licensing training, but don't you dare tell Becky, okay?
Oh, God, so bad.
So,
It was horrible.
okay, the first thing I have is this handbook. So I've only got 4 topics on my agenda, and the first 3 are super quick. So we'll save the last one is a little bit lengthier, just because it's COVID. You guys will have a lot of questions, and so we'll get to it. So, do I have any new staff in here? I don't think so. Perfect. So everybody knows.
Closest one.
That's why I'm like new
And Heidi's
staff.
back.
And Heidi's back. Heidi's, she's got it. So our handbooks are located on the Share portal. So everyone should know how to get to the Share portal. If you do not, ask your supervisor because she's a pro, or come find me or Elena. Somebody can help you. This is just an update to the handbook. So as you can tell, I can't run the copier from my computer, and I have to print it on 2 separate pieces of paper because I hit the wrong dang button. And if I were to print it again, I'd be in big trouble. So you get 2 copies, 2 pages. The first one, we're just gonna go through this. I'm just gonna touch base on what is different from the handbook, but remember, if you need a good reminder, that's on the Share portal. And remember, there is a district handbook as well. That district handbook is on the Share portal as well, so that's the support staff handbook. And then we have a Heartland handbook because we have all the wonderful federal regulations to follow. And
So
That goes in
Tasha,
there.
do I have to know both of them?
yes, all of it. And then you're gonna sign a piece of paper at the end of it that says you love them all, you'll follow them all, and you'll never have any problems with it. So you're good. Okay, so the first one, child abuse. We just took out some requirements about the volunteers because they're not filling out that packet. That's a lie now, so we took it out. Counseling and rehab, that's a performance standard that we have to provide a list of counseling and rehab services to our staff. So that's located in the handbook. I've updated that information. Use it if you wish. Job description, no longer found on the website, so if you need one, come find me. The biggest one for discussion is our dress code. We are tired of monitoring the dress code. So if you want to wear shorts year-round, I don't care. Wear them year-round. If you want to wear tank tops year-round, wear it year-round. If you wake up in the morning and think, I wonder if I can wear this, you can't wear that because you're questioning it. So don't wear it if you have a question about it. If you show up in something, if you show up in something that's not professional for business attire, you will be sent home. You will have to.
They're wondering about leggings.
So leggings is the same. I mean, your guidance has not stopped. They got to be below, the tunic level, the longer, cover the front, cover the back. Yeah, when you bend over, we don't want to see everything.
I want to see the details.
We don't need no details. No, we don't want to see details. Perfect, Julie. Any other dress code conversations? Perfect. Wear what you want as long as it's appropriate. Next page is orientation, general information about the website and stuff. Since that was up, since we have a new website, we just had to reroute some things, so that's all that was there. And then lastly is the continuing education piece. And we just now referenced the procedure on that. So basically, long story short, if you want to work on your ECE degree, we will pay, up to a bachelor's degree. So if you're interested in that, you've been here a year, come find me. We'll talk. I have a procedure. You can look it through and get signed up. Any questions on the handbook? I'll get you your copies, gals. Oh, y'all are easy peasy. Okay, so sign your life away. And I don't want to, and so the goal, I forgot to mention, the goal this year is to be as simple as possible. So you're going to see there's no witness signature because that's just one extra step that we're tired of doing. I don't know that we need to do that. And then we've taken out this specific handbook in which we're signing. And so you're just stating overall, you know where to find handbooks and where to get that information. So next year, we should not have to fill this out again. So that's already 2 things off my list. I'm sorry? I'm sorry, what? Oh, Nike shorts.
That would be inappropriate then.
Nike shorts. No.
Can I work out and then just come to work?
No. The next one is the new incident reporting procedure. And so this has been updated to state that if you have an incident at work, so say that you're walking out of here, you trip, fall, scrape your knee, hit your head, whatever you may have done, and then you're like, I'm just super embarrassed, but I'm probably fine. I'm just gonna take some Advil, ice it, whatever, I'll check in a couple days. That's not legal anymore. Or it actually never has been. You have to report it immediately because you're gonna come back in a couple days and you're like, it's just not going away. I must have tweaked my back somehow when I fell, or whatever it may be. Your job now is to, call the Human Resources Department. That's Emily at the HR department. So as soon as you have an incident, you are to call her immediately and let her know, and then she'll make sure you're getting the paperwork or whatever. I am more than happy to help write or go through that process with you. So come find me if you're unsure or whatever, but it is your job to call her directly if you have an incident. Now let me tell you the why behind that. So the district pays a work comp premium on work comp insurance on every single person. And so if we do not keep our reporting times, and this is just a piece of it, but if we do not keep our reporting times within their constraints or time frame of reporting, then our work comp insurance goes up. And so if that goes up, then they're gonna have to find other ways for us to help pay for that. So then that's when our insurance is gonna go up and all that good stuff. So do your part, report it, and even if you think you're probably fine or whatever, just report it. That way there's no question about what's going on. Any questions about it yet? Ms. Lacy?
So if you report it, do you have the discretion whether you feel like you need medical attention or wait?
Repeat your question.
When making that report?
Perfect. So the question is, can I wait? Can I decide whether or not I want medical treatment even if I report it? Absolutely. So when you're calling Emily, hey, I fell today, I'm gonna fill out an incident report, but I don't need to go to the doctor. I think I'm fine for right now. Perfect, you're done. Say you come back a couple days later and then, it's just not going away, it's still bothering you or whatever, then they have that ability. You're not gonna, because if you don't report it within a time frame, then another piece is that you may be denied work comp benefits. And then it's a whole fight between which doctor is gonna serve who, because you got hurt at work, but you're not covered under work comp, and your regular doctor doesn't wanna deal with it. So it's a mess if you don't follow the procedures. Any other questions? Good. You guys are easy peasy. Okay, so the best for last. You guys will, I'm learning that you will eventually see the reopening plan. We haven't done that right, right? Okay. I didn't think so yet.
This afternoon.
This afternoon, it's full of goodies. Everything you would ever want to know about COVID and how we're handling it is gonna be in this plan. I needed to just make a few remarks and comments because a lot of it's gonna be, go talk to Tasha, about the specific COVID thing. So I just have a few things here that are gonna trigger some questions for you. So I'd like to answer some of those before you actually go through the training today. So first of all, face masks, required. They need to be above the nose, below the chin, and snug against the face. If they're not, we have to call you out. District is very serious about that. This summer, I know some of you may, we've taken breaths, or maybe we're wearing them right below our nose. That's illegal. We can't do that. Find a closet, find a bathroom stall. If you have to take a break, step out. You may only take off your mask, except for right now, for me, but you may only take your mask off if you are alone in your office. So, all
None of
right.
you have an office?
So,
Alone in your classroom?
no,
Alone in your classroom?
it's not your
Oh,
own
really?
space. So go to your closet, go to your bathroom, take a break. So I'm encouraging, take a break. You guys are gonna have less kids, more staff, or more staff per ratio, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So take a break in a space alone.
And you can go outside to take a 5-minute
Oh,
break.
absolutely, absolutely, step outside. So, did I say I don't know if I said this part, if we find that people are not wearing their masks appropriately, we have to do disciplinary action. They're that serious with it. So, just if and a lot of people have been asking today, well, what if, I see, we'll blame it on infant toddlers. Well, I see the infant toddler staff, they're wearing them down here around their chin or whatever. You have the authority. Hey, we need to have our mask on appropriately. Call them out. It's not fair. They're to keep you safe and me safe. So call them out. And if you don't feel comfortable, Michelle can do it for you. No. She'll find the appropriate means. Or Leanne can take care of it over there. Okay, so the next thing is self-assessing. So before you even walk in the door, and a lot of you have been doing this already for summer, but before you even walk in the door, leave your house even, you need to self-assess. Do I feel okay? Am I sniffing? Am I coughing? Is somebody gonna think I have some sort of illness? If that's the case, stay home. Don't come to work. Because if you come to work with any sign of illness and you are approached by a supervisor, leadership, whatever, then you're out automatically for 10 days. Unless you can provide a doctor's note. That is coming straight from the district office, and we've questioned it, I don't know how many times, because that's not what we've been doing. So, it's 100%, and in the elementary schools, it's serious. They're serious about it. There's no way getting around it. So if you are sick, stay home. If we have to send you home, it's 10 days unless you can provide a doctor's note.
10 days paid?
No.
Seriously.
Right. So, unless you have leave or something like that, and we're gonna get into some leave talk here in a second. But no, unless you have leave, then you have to be home those 10 days. So, when we just got this figured out Monday, we've been meeting in the afternoons, leadership, about this, and so when Lisa finally brought back the determination and clarification from Shanna, we were all in there, and Monday, I didn't think anything of it. Casey called me out. You've had a cough all day. Oh yeah, I didn't take my allergy meds. I know it's allergies. They don't know well, they probably do, but nobody else knows it's allergies. So I'm serious, we don't want to send you home. Our leave is so important this year. We don't want to send you home. So if you're sick, stay home, take a sick day. And then tomorrow, you're better, so then come to work. Then you have that flexibility to do what you need to do. Questions on that? Yep.
It's the season of allergies, I don't have them, and I'm still being impacted, so, you can feel
Right, so the question is, I have allergies, I know I do too. And so I'm clearing my throat, luckily that's not a COVID sign. And, you're safe there and sneezing, so you're safe there. But the little tickle with the cough, and now that you're talking about it, you kinda wanna cough right now, but you better not, right? So it's like you're on guard 100% of the time. So how do we do that? So our first case yesterday was the person came and was like, I'm fine, it's just I got some runny nose, got a little tickle going on, kind of coughing. You came to me, so definitely, you need to go home, because I can't diagnose it, yeah, you're fine. Well, no, because you've got something a little different. We can't do that, we have to treat everybody the same. So she said, okay, I'll go home, but if I go to the doctor and say, this is what's going on, or honestly, I think she went to the walk-in clinic, but some people have just called as well and said, hey, this is what's going on, can I get a doctor's note? For example, my son was coughing like a crazy person, and so barky cough, and so childcare is all sorts of nervous, and so we had to call the doctor, get a doctor. It's just allergies, he just has the cough, like 0 other signs, and so we could provide that, and she's fine with it. Same thing here. If you can provide a doctor's note, we're gonna be fine. We have to go through the doctor's say. So they're gonna be handing out slips like crazy, because we're only 150 out of 2,000 people that are gonna be doing this. So, does that answer your question?
They're gonna hold all the kids to that same standard too, the
Oh,
school system.
Yeah, kids.
So another
kids are the same
7,000, some hundred,
Kids are the same thing, so you send so-and-so home because they've got a cough or a runny nose or whatever it may be, you have to be home, and you have to be home 10 days. So keep your kid home if they're sick. So who's gonna show up to work? I have kids, you have kids, everybody has kids.
That's right, the old buildings are gonna be empty.
Kids are gonna be teaching themselves, no, I don't know. So, just take it really serious. If you don't feel well, or you got the nervous cough, whatever, take care of yourself, and so make sure you're healthy or whatever, because, and honestly, I've been telling the other groups, I'm like, okay, Nadine, you're coughing, do you need to tell me something? I don't want to send you home. I know our leave is super precious, and we're gonna feel like we're going through it like water. So just try and take that and make the best of it. Let's talk a little bit about leave. You guys, does anybody have any questions? Any other questions so far?
power of suggestion.
It is, that's what it is.
So is the district or the health department working with, I'm just curious now saying that, I'm thinking, holy cow, the flooding, our medical offices are gonna be flooded now.
Yeah.
And so that impacts getting all of this, either notes or, are they in works or talks with the medical community and stuff like that to kind of manage that, or to?
So the question is basically, and tell me if I'm wrong here, is 305 communicating with the healthcare professions, so that they know that they're gonna be sending everybody with the sniffles to them? Long story short.
Right.
Yeah.
There'll be a backlog.
And so, right, so to my knowledge, Lynn is working with the health department, which is Saline County. Did she mention anything else? That's her big one right now. And so Saline County is aware, and they've helped us design, or help us, the district, design what the return and reopening plan is. So they have to be communicating. That's how we're able to reopen. This is the first group who has asked, what if I get COVID, or what if my child gets COVID? What does that mean? Does anybody experience, and don't have to raise your hand, but does anybody kind of know the procedures on how that works? Is anybody curious?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'll use myself as an example. So if Karsten has you know, he's got his cough or whatever, but now he's starting with a runny nose or something a little different, and so I'll call the doctor again. More than likely, they're probably gonna wanna get him tested, and, you know, has anybody, you don't have to say it, but has anybody, they go up tickle your brains, right? It's horrendous. My husband had it done, said he done wished it on his enemy. And said, so anyways, he'll have to get tested, and then that means, my husband started a new job, so he isn't staying home. So that means I have to stay home with him. And so what that would mean if, and I'm not a good example, cause I can do a lot of my work on the computer, so I could work from home, but,
You can use
So-
Charlie, that's fine.
what's that?
You can use me as.
Yeah, so
I don't
Nicole-
know.
So Nicole, so she goes and gets Charlie tested, and so now she's staying home. Her husband can't stay home, and so she can, which you might be a little different too, but you can't work from home. We're just saying, for example, you can't work from home. You know, you're home with Charlie, and so and you're waiting results. You don't know what the results are yet because it's 3 to 10 days before you even will know something, and so you're out those days. We have what's called dependent, so everybody got COVID pay. They handed that out like candy after spring break, right? And everybody got the full paycheck and everybody tried to survive. Well, now starting June 1st, which it would not affect, I don't think it's affected anybody in here, but June 1st, we have what is FFCRA. So it's the CARES Act pay. And so you have one for the employee and you have one for dependents. So if you're sick yourself and you have to quarantine for yourself, you get the employee side paid at 100% your rate for 2 weeks. That is good from July to December. After December, we don't know what it means. Federal law will have to reinstate it or whatever. They have to extend it. It's only good until December 31st. And so, so you're home with Charlie, and you know, it takes 10 days, and so they finally get the results, and you're paid at your dependent care. Only 2/3 of your paycheck. It's not a full pay. Only 2/3 to stay home with a dependent. And a dependent is a real wide explanation. You're dependent, so any child, maybe a parent, they let a roommate, you know, we say your pet goldfish is what we joked around this summer. So it's very wide of what a dependent could mean. So you're out that time. His test comes back positive. Or let's do negative first. Negative, you're out. Doctor's note says you can return. You're good to go. You come back to work. No problem. You deduct how many hours out of your 80 hours for dependent do you have. So now you're only out a week by the time you got the results over the weekend and everything. So you have 40 hours left to take you through, for dependent, to take you through the end of December, okay? So let's say the test comes back positive. For positive, then Charlie has to be out X amount of days, and this is all determined by the health department. We just have a good idea of kind of what the time frame is, but it changes because everybody's different and how they recover is different. So Charlie's out, 10 days. If you test positive, 10 days is typically what it's taken people to get back to work. And so he can return back to school after that. But what they're gonna say is, okay, so when did Charlie have symptoms? And so like, oh, well, so not this Monday, it was last Monday probably, or let's say even the weekend before, so like that Sunday, so a couple weeks, so not this week, but last week Sunday. Okay, so then actually he's contagious 2 days before that, so that's a Friday. And so then, whoops, forgot I'm being recorded. And so on a Friday, so then, okay, so who was he around for more than 10 minutes, less than 6 feet apart? Well, tell me he's 5, so he's not gonna know. And then mom, can you even remember for yourself what that's like? No, we tried to do that this summer. That's impossible. I don't know who I was around. So obviously it's gonna be anybody in his household. So those people are gonna have to quarantine for 14 days. So honestly, if you're gonna get it, be the person with the positive test because it's shorter for you. Don't be an exposed person. Does that make sense? So everybody in the household. And he, well, we're still in hybrid, so he didn't have to go to school on Friday, so luckily that's the case. But say, and we don't have kids here, but say it's on a Thursday and you're working in your classroom, you test positive, your coworkers, you're less than 6 feet apart from your coworkers for more than 10, or for more than 10 minutes out of the day? Probably so. So now you just quarantined your coworkers. And then Julie's gonna have to come in and teach your class.
Oh, Lord.
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Actually, she's not.
I'm not, for lots of good reasons. When you don't want me to, it's been 22 years since I taught in the classroom. But actually, so I do know that we have a couple childcare centers who had their first case last week. So all this time that childcare has been open in Salina, we have had no cases until last week. So there was a childcare center last week that a child was diagnosed with COVID. Health department came in and closed the whole classroom because everybody's quarantined. So the classroom, not the center, the classroom is closed for the next week. The center is still open, but all that staff, all those kids are at home. So that's what would happen, we would close.
So
the
you would
classroom.
close a classroom if one of us
That way I
get,
don't have to go to teacher. But
Yeah.
actually, it's not up to us, the health
And-
department decides.
exactly right. So the health department is gonna determine who has to quarantine. But remember, it's only gonna be good as your memory. So it's, as a supervisor or whatever, we cannot go to, Bree and say, Bree, Nicole tested positive, so you're a direct contact, and, but maybe you are, maybe you aren't. We assume you're a direct contact, so you're gonna need to quarantine. The health department will contact you, but we do it ourselves as well. We are getting with Nicole, we're saying, who have you been around? Well, you know, she helped out in, Nadine's classroom for this much time, whatever, and so, I mean, that's why we're not crossing classrooms, right? So, that's a bad example. But, so we're working with Nicole with that. All I could say is, Bree, it's possible that you've been exposed, you're gonna need to quarantine and get a hold of the health department. So we're trying to stay a step ahead of the health department just to get people out if we need to.
So her point there was, she can't say Nicole started it,
Yeah.
because that's illegal. All she can say is you're exposed. She's not gonna say by who.
I can't tell you. That's medical, that's private medical, information. So I can't tell you who it was. So it is at your discretion. It will not come from me, it will not come from a supervisor, but if you share that information, that is your choice.
So is she gonna get paid if she has to quarantine? Is she not?
So if you're so the question is, does Bree get paid because she is a possible exposure? Then yes, so you will use the employee side, the FFCRA for employee. So you have 80, well, you get 2 weeks. So if is there any 35 hours in here? Couple? So you get 2 weeks, so 80
What
hours.
happens when you run out of those, Tasha?
You have to use your sick leave, discretionary leave, that sort of thing. That's what I'm saying.
Because Nicole exposed her,
Yes,
and then,
Thanks, Nicole.
Don't worry about it.
that's,
and then Jacqueline maybe exposes her. I mean, that could put her out.
I have to tell you that you got the only saving grace, and you guys have been the only group set up to be 6 feet apart. That is your only saving grace. Keep your 6 feet, in meetings, keep your 6 feet apart. You know, try in a classroom, I understand that's not possible, but we know that's not where, we've been doing it this summer, we've been doing it in childcare and preschool. We know we have a highly, you know, I don't have my words. We've been doing it, so I feel pretty confident, but you don't know, it's all, we don't know.
So I kind of caught a glimpse of Lynn's little flow chart thing or whatever that she had at one point in time, and it like branched out to if you're home but you can work, then how does that look different? Like if I'm home and I make a video and say, Bree, play this in the
Yeah.
classroom.
Yes, so there are
Like, I
certain.
guess if I'm home, then.
Yeah, so
that's
there
what it
are
is
certain
anyways, but-
positions. The question is like, what, do we know, like, who can work from home or who can't work from home? So we have certain positions mapped out on what we can work from home. Now, it's just a general guideline, and that's on the Share portal as well. It's a general guideline of who can work from home. I think we set, I honestly can't remember because it's been a while since we've made that chart. But there's gonna be some things that you can do from home. But I don't know that I can pay you 8 hours as a teacher to work from home. So we'll divide that time out. Now, as a TA, is there much a TA can do from home?
I can give her a list of activities to work on.
You know, so we talk about that. It's gonna be individual and by classroom and what's needed.
But if I do, like I worked from home, when we were shut down every day. But I would have to document exactly what I did, or I don't get paid 8 hours. So if I only filled 5 hours of the day and I can only document what I did for 5 hours, I'm only gonna be paid for 5 hours. And then I have to take sick leave or vacation or whatever for the other 3 hours of the day.
And so just a little clarification, if we are allowing from home, then you will have to document that very, very closely. So, you know, if you did, you know, this from 9 to 10 or whatever, you've got to document your daily thing. Now, Julie's a little different, Lacey's a little, and Michelle, because you're exempt, so there's some different rules with that, but as an hour and a teacher, not negotiated, licensed teacher, so there's a little different rules behind that, but as an hourly person, we have to document what is going on and what you do, if we can allow that to be worked from home. So lots of conversation between you and me, Julie, and your supervisor about what's gonna be going on, what can we do, work from home, that sort of thing.
So it won't be like it was in April and May where they just paid you.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone, they're not doing that
You
anymore.
have to show up to work if you want paid, is basically what the district's saying. Unless we can work out some arrangement during your quarantine or something like that. Now sometimes, there's been some people that, I don't think, our cases that we've had, people have been pretty sick. And so if you have it, we don't expect you to work because you're pretty sick. Now, just a little bit on that, some people are 10 days and done and fine. But as I've talked with the health department over this summer, like they've had people out like 4 weeks because they can't get their symptoms to go away. And so it's all gonna be determined by what the health department says. And so your symptoms, last I heard, your symptoms have to be improving each day. They can't stay the same. They have to be improving each day. And you have to be fever-free for 72 hours before you can even return. Yes, Ms. Lacy?
So
Without
your
drugs.
care goes to the health department and not with your individual doctor, and so they're the ones that monitor it?
One more time,
Your care or the
Oh.
monitoring of that is placed with the health department, not your individual doctor about return and.
So the health department, so the question is like who's overseeing it, who's monitoring your return? So it's kind of both, because the health department, when the cases were low in Saline County, it was the health department. So the health department got your positive test, and maybe this is the way it is in Dickinson County. I'm not as familiar at all with Dickinson County or Ellsworth County. But how it was is that the health department would get your positive test, and then they're following up with you every day. Now, I don't know where our numbers, like how many they're actively monitoring right now, but once they got up to like the 70, they can't call people every day to see what's going on. So it's kind of a combination between your health department and your medical provider, because your medical provider is now the one that's sending you in for a test. And they're usually the one calling you, telling you what your results are. And then the health department is following up with you to try and do some contact tracing.
So are we required to have a negative test to come back? Is that a part of the process?
No, I have heard that some companies are requiring a negative test to report back to work. That's not the case here. Lots of information. You'll talk about it more this afternoon. Are you doing the whole plan this afternoon?
I am, but what I've done on that section is I've given them the statement I told you I was giving them and said, call Tasha.
Yeah.
So I'm saying very little,
Very good.
because I don't want to screw it up, so your answer's gonna be call Tasha.
So if you're sick, you're gonna let your supervisor know, and then how it's been is the now it's like, if you're sick, you stay home. But if it's more than just that, like if you're going to, you can always call me, but I'm gonna tell you, if you're sick, you stay home. Because anything says if you're sick, call Tasha. Well, if you're sick, stay home, and if you're better tomorrow, come back tomorrow. Your supervisor is gonna be in contact with me about, well, now she's out 2 days and she's thinking it's a little bit more. Then you and I are gonna become best friends. And, they're handing my cell phone number out like candy. And so, usually, if you're a texter, then it's usually I put you and your supervisor on a message, and then that way we can just all keep updated. Hey, I got tested today, not supposed to know for another 10 days, or 3 to 10 days. I don't know, I haven't heard what it is recently. Last I knew it was up to 10 days to get your results. And so for instance, now my husband tested negative, but when he went in for his test, I still came to work, but if he would have been positive, now I made it very clear, Steven's been tested, keep your distance from me because it's only gonna save you, from being quarantined. But if he would test positive, then I would have to be quarantined. And then if I got symptoms, then I'd have to tell all my people that I've been, if I can remember. I can't remember what I did when I got up this morning.
If one time you had an email that said anybody that was having symptoms were to contact you directly, that's not the case now. Now they contact supervisor, and then we go that route.
Well, we haven't, I shouldn't say the standing procedure is, if you're sick, contact Tasha. We haven't changed that, but I think we need to. If you're sick, you stay home. I don't need to know every time I got the sniffles.
But if you have a COVID type
Yes.
symptom.
If you have a,
because Tasha's tracking all that in a database that only she gets access to because of confidentiality, but she has to track all this stuff.
for the district. So Lynn's got, so it's Lynn and Lynn Exline, Shanna Rector, and Aaron Wright. We're all in a Google spreadsheet, and so I have to keep track of who's being tested, when they're being tested, when is the last day in their classroom. I can't remember what I've all put on there, but just anything to help us monitor what's going on in our building, so then they can look it up or what. And this is for children too, so I don't know if I touched base on that. But if you have a child out because of they're getting tested, or there's possible COVID exposure, I have to know about that.
The children in your classroom,
Children in your, yeah.
because she's also tracking the children.
Well, and if you're out because of your child, then obviously that too. But yes, the children in your classroom.
Now, are they, because I said the other day when I trained to contact you, but really it goes on the illness tracking form that Tara gets, and then Tara shares it with you, or you wanted to contact you too?
Well, I'm not getting any information. So like recently, someone told me, a supervisor told me about it, and then I just added to the spreadsheet. I have yet to hear about it, so I'm just saying
I don't
contact
wanna
me.
clog up Tasha's thing, but if you just shoot her an email, so she's not constantly have to answer your phone, then we've got, checks and balances to make sure she knows about everybody. So it's not gonna, even though you reported it on the illness tracking thing you do, whatever that's called.
And are you typically letting your supervisor know if someone's, how does that work? And we don't know yet, you haven't been there, right? You would just tell your supervisor?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Michelle's gonna be telling
So
me.
if a child in the room is sent home, then what?
If so you send them home because they have a cough
Yeah.
or something,
Yeah.
then, you need to say, hey, our policy is that I have to send the child home. He or she's gotta be out for 10 days unless she can bring a doctor's note.
And who's making that determination?
the nurses.
The nurses, so yes, so that'll be a whole nother training.
So the first thing you're gonna do is let the nurses know,
Right.
and then they'll determine whether they come down to the health room.
Okay.
And then the nurse is going to, and Casey's gonna train on this, later this week or next week. And so go by whatever Casey says in case I get it wrong. 'Cause she'll be
So
training
if
on it.
a child in the room tests positive, then is the whole classroom shut down as well?
That is what happened at a local childcare center, so I'm assuming.
And we would have to go by what the health department says,
And
but
we have to
I would
notify them.
assume,
We have to notify them right away.
yes, yes. So as soon as there's any communication that a child's being tested, I've gotta know about it. And then, because then I have to notify the district office.
And if it's positive.
And then once it's positive, then I have to notify the health department, school district, I mean, everybody, and then,
At that point, does the classroom become remote? So, yeah,
Yes.
get kids to use them?
Yeah, except for the child who's sick, would just be out sick, but the rest of the classroom would just go remote. Let's talk about that when we talk about remote learning.
yeah, that's a great remote learning opportunity.
Write that down, Michelle.
Any questions, clear as mud?
And if you don't, she will.
I mean, I wanna be paid, so.
So if the classroom shut down and everybody has to quarantine, are we getting paid or not?
If we shut down the classroom, if you have any hours left out of your FFCRA bank for an employee, then you are paid. Otherwise, you have to use your sick leave, discretionary leave,
So
or go
let's say-
unpaid.
Let's say that happens twice in your classroom this year, and you are out of all those leave banks, then you will be unpaid.
But if we can get a remote classroom going and have some jobs delegated,
Then we can probably pay part.
I mean, I understand that we can't get full, but we
Yeah.
can get some.
Yes. And you guys, we're still learning this too. We think we've got things sort of figured out, but every time we do, it's changed by, I mean, not even us, by somebody with more thoughts and ideas. So we need you to help us come up with ideas too. I mean, you get a whole section of what that remote learning or
We're already spending a lot of time on that.
whatever is gonna be, so. Any other questions? Dickinson County, Ellsworth, anybody? Perfect. Okay. See if you have some questions.